Hey everyone, welcome to More Than Meets These Guys. This podcast is a journey through Transformers from the beginning of the animated series with two old friends coming at it from different perspectives. Together, we will go episode by episode with the occasional extra to look at how the show holds up or if it's a trap of nostalgia. We'll be looking at all things involved in the episode, whether there were real-world factors that crept into the writing or the episode was typical afternoon cartoon fodder. I'm Evan. I'm the lifelong fan. He's familiar with all aspects of the franchise. While Ed here is familiar with Transformers, but it was really nothing he was really into it when he was younger. So thanks so much for joining us. And Ed, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. First of all, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody that joined us for the episode 1 of Subdivisions, which was our side show we did last week. We had a blast doing that, and I hope that even like one person checked out Area 88, which is the show that we covered.
I knew Tim did.
Oh, good. Oh, right on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did post that. So that's awesome. And anyone that checked that, I hope you enjoyed it on some level. We definitely look forward to doing more of those in the future. Related to that though, a friend of the show, Jamal, messaged me and said, "Dude, I literally jumped when I was listening to the latest episode when the music started, and halfway in, you go subdivisions." The voice got me. It was like Optimus Prime just randomly saying subdivisions.
I found this MIDI file of the actual song Subdivisions by Rush. I found a little piece in there where Getty says subdivisions or whoever does. And yeah, it was perfect, man.
So it turned out that he didn't get the Rush reference in that.
Oh,
and so if any of you out there were wondering, that is a Rush reference. And not only are we both big fans of Rush, but I think they're probably the biggest band where our musical tastes overlap. What's weird is that like you and I like a lot of the same music, the same types of music, but we love a lot of different bands. And so like the overlap sometimes isn't, we both love like progressive rock and punk rock and metal and stuff, but it's like the bands that are our bands aren't necessarily the same Venn diagram. So like, I mean, so if we were to like newlywed game it right now and list each other's like favorite bands, I mean, I would say for you, I would say yes. I'll give you a formal proposition down the road. If I were to say yours, I would probably go Tom Waits, Faith No More, Bad Religion. This is a long shot. I'm gonna, and I think. I mean, we've been friends for like 20-something years. I want to say Queensryche, and then probably Rush. I mean, does that list like if like maybe not your favorite bands, but I mean, would those be like top?
Those would be like, I don't know, maybe top. A lot of those be in the top 10 to 15.
Okay.
I've had a big surge into the neo folk kind of music. Like one of my favorite bands period is Fleet Foxes. Really good, clean, really talented musicians. Like the music is just it's really good. But yeah, Tom Waits definitely. Leonard Cohen, Nick Cave.
I wanted to say Nick Cave, but like because most people that like Tom Waits really like Nick Cave also.
It's like a holy triumvirate or something.
Yeah, and also with Leonard Cohen. Yeah, I can totally see that. But a lot of times you like there are some people out there that like one or the other. Like they're a big fan of Leonard Cohen, or they're a big fan of Nick Cave. So I personally, I have never in my life listened to a Nick Cave record. I've always meant to, but it's one of those things that it's he's almost kind of hard to get into because like there's a lot out there, and I don't really know where to start with.
I mean, Nick honestly, Cave. With him, I would tell you where to listen and what to avoid because some of his later music I just can't get into because. As I kind of feel like in a way he lost the plot, but he does a lot with Warren Ellis with soundtracks, and he's awesome soundtrack composer. Really great stuff. One of my favorite movies, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. They did the entire soundtrack for that.
Oh, cool!
It is awesome. It is a beautiful movie, beautiful music. But yeah, I mean, there are so many bands. I'll list. I'll come back to my first love bands was actually Queensryche. but they came out with Empire like when we were in high school. I want to say 92, 93 came out. I don't know. Maybe I may be a little off.
I
But
think
it
it was
came
a
out.
little bit before that, I think. But see, the thing is that you see that's interesting that you say that, because there's that whole thing with like if you love music, you've never loved a band like you love your favorite band from when you were 16, because it's a lot of times favorite things are like it's important as it's as important as when you discover things as what you discover a lot of
Yeah.
times. So
And I'll tell you, man, honestly, that's what's probably brought them out of my tops, because
Mhm.
Jeff Tate, the singer, he got a little douchey later days.
Yeah, so yeah, I've heard. I've never been a huge fan of them, but yeah,
Yeah,
I can
well,
see
it's the
that.
same thing. Like, I love Faith No More. I know you like him a lot too, but you've never listened to an album, which just kills me. I don't understand that at all.
I've I've in my life probably listened to 3 Faith No More songs.
That's
Probably Epic,
crazy,
the
man.
Real Thing, and that cover of War Pigs, and I think that's all I've
Which is
ever
a great
heard by
cover.
them.
My first CD I ever got was Angel Dust, which is their
That was the one after. Uh,
yeah, it was
After
after
the real thing, but
the Real Thing. Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that are big Faith No More fans that say that that's the superior album out of their
Oh, by
catalog.
far. It's
Yeah,
superior musically, it's superior. It's like oh god, I'm blinking on his name. Mike
Patton.
Mike Patton, thank you.
Right.
Mike Patton kind of found his groove with writing and how he comes to the music, because it the first, like, the Real Thing almost feels like a weird 90s pop hip hop um white kid album. And but this also got some really cool like I don't know, blues influences on it. And
Okay.
but yeah, then you go into the Angel Dust. It's a complete album to me. It is really a good album. And I've had that original CD still. I don't listen to CDs much anymore, but usually stream stuff. But I mean, still got it. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, great music. I mean, I would have a hard time figuring out, because
If you just rattled off five, like because
okay, and you
I
love Ice
thought
Cube.
about this. What's that?
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube?
Yeah, don't you love Ice Cube?
Oh, yeah, I like Ice Cube, but
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever
When
put.
I ask you about music a lot, you're like, yeah, man, I'm really into hip hop right now, some heavy rap, man. I've been listening to Ice Cube. I fucking love, but that's
Ice Cube?
yeah, you yeah, okay. So
Wu Tang is my
I
go to
know, like me some Wu-Tang.
for hip hop, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
Red
like Ice
Fez.
Cube, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have him on
Yeah,
like mixes, but I don't think I don't like.
or
Yeah,
maybe
huh?
so.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah. What else you got?
you talking about, like for you, God, let's see. I would definitely say yes.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I would.
That's the thing. You're hard to read, man.
Yeah, I know, I know. I was just curious. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say, oh, Misfits.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Nope.
Your music taste change. Like you're very cyclical.
Yeah, that is, yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean,
That's why
like, I mean, you could have, yeah,
you're like ADHD of music, honestly.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, you could literally say, oh, God, Black Sabbath,
Oh well, yeah.
Wilco, Radiohead, Black Flag,
Yeah. That's actually, those are ones I
yeah,
would say.
Kraftwerk. I mean, you could have said any of that. It would have been
Oh, Future
accurate.
Islands.
Who?
Future Islands.
I don't think I've ever heard Future Islands. I don't even know who that is.
Oh gosh, I've
Yeah.
I've played for music from them before. You're like, oh,
Have
I
you?
love that song.
Maybe I do. I don't know.
God,
There's just too much out there. I can't
there
remember all
is.
those things.
It's a nice thing about, it's kind of the negative and the positive of having music so easily streamable now, is a lot of it can be forgotten.
There's just too much. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and they're like, you're talking about having vinyls of only the albums you really like or the bands you really like. And I'm like, yeah, I've kind of done the same thing. Like we got a lot of vinyls from from my wife's previous divorce. But we also have a bunch of my own, some Tom Waits, some Nick Cave. I've got a Gore's latest album, which
Oh,
I will tell people. I know they're a joke band in a way, but they are putting out some of the best metal in the last 10 to 15 years. They've got
you've been saying that for a long time too,
From
man.
Violence Has Arrived
Yeah.
onward. Good music, man. But
Uh,
so even though Dave Brocky and Odorous died, the band's still putting out really good music. So yeah, I would say that definitely. But
yeah.
but yeah, like with you, you have a much broader palette as far as music goes. And so but this it's funny that you're like, yeah, name of bands I have listened to probably 5 to 10 years.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Tom Waits is
But
always
see, yeah, I figured that. But see, the whole thing though got me thinking about the whole concept of
Mhm.
favorite things, like favorite anything. Like 'cause a lot of times it's hard to just declare that something is your favorite of a certain thing.
Oh yeah.
Like especially narrowing it down. Like I mean, like for food, for example, I mean, I can tell you my favorite sandwich in town, and I can tell you my favorite pizza in town. I mean, I can absolutely tell you my two favorite of each one of those.
Oh, Blue Ring
Um,
Pizza?
no, but my favorite sandwich is the Captain Turk from the Elbow Room, um, which is rosemary roasted turkey,
Oh,
Swiss cheese, honey mustard, Granny Smith apples
gosh, he sounds great.
on a French roll. Yeah, absolutely delicious. That's my favorite sandwich in town. Favorite pizza in town is actually a Ponderosa Stomp. It's a barbecue chicken pizza with cream cheese, bacon, and jalapenos. So I can tell you those are both my favorite of each respective category of food, but I couldn't tell you that one of those is definitely my favorite over the other.
Yeah.
It's the whole concept or whatever. But I, so like by that nature, I couldn't really say that like Rush is my favorite band or like Mastodon is my favorite band either.
Mhm.
I will say that I have a favorite song. I can tell you I have a favorite song ever. Um, it's "Don't Fear the Reaper." Actually, it's my favorite
It's a
song
great song.
of all
I'll
time.
tell you why.
It is a great song. What is your favorite song of all time?
It's honestly, and I know it's an easy one to go to. It's Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. It
Yeah,
is, people say it's the most perfect song ever written, but it always changes, depends on who's singing it. And I know there's a I can't remember who made it really, really big.
the Jeff Buckley.
Jeff Buckley, thank you. Yeah, he
Yeah,
made it like really got into the zeitgeist with him. But I like Leonard Cohen's just because he has a certain, I don't know, sadness or something to his singing,
Leonard
which
Cohen's is so much better than Jeff Buckley's fan.
I
I'm not a fan of Jeff. I'm not much of a fan of Jeff Buckley, but
but he made it famous. So yeah,
right.
but I love a lot of songs. So if you were to say, it's your favorite, top 10, like that would take me a while.
I would take. I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it. But on the other hand, I can say, and I have said on the show that Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie. And but see, I think the entire concept about it is kind of comforting,
Yeah.
since it really takes a certain level of self-awareness and confidence to just go ahead and declare that I like this one thing better than all other things in this field. That's sometimes you need time as a perspective to be able to do this. Like if something comes out, like if a movie came out last week and I said that's my absolute favorite movie of all time, like no, you can't. Like you can't. I don't think you can say that. But anyway, that was just really like a really long way for me to get around to asking you if you have an absolute favorite Transformer, and if so, who is it?
God, are you talking like a character wise?
Yeah, or I mean, is there like a toy that is your favorite?
It's that honestly, it changes all the time. But
Exactly, exactly.
man, okay, I would have told you favorite character, and he hasn't come into this yet. So, Hot Rod, just because his in the Transformers the movie in 1986. I was discussing with someone recently. There is I don't know, the hero's journey with him. They actually, they wrote in a hero's journey all the way into the season 3, which people, hated it because he looked incompetent. He's like, he took over and when they killed Optimus Prime in the movie. And so,
Spoiler.
oh, if you're spoiled from a 1986,
I've never seen Transformers the movie. We've talked
sorry,
about this before.
but
There goes that song. There goes that
no,
bonus
man,
episode.
stop.
Really?
We'll stop
All
and
right,
doing
there
this
it
now.
is.
We're
Yeah.
done.
All right.
No, he took over and he was really bad at it. But it's the whole idea of the hero's journey. It's he essentially pulled the sword from the stone.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole.
Yeah.
We talked about that during the Area 88 episode of
Yeah.
the anime trope of the ace getting killed halfway through the series so that the young guy can.
Yeah, and
pretty cool.
There was the obvious feint, things like that. But we can get into that later. But I think now this is funny because this is a direct result of doing the show, as I would say Starscream is, because this episode really kind of cemented it home when I went back and watched this. He is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. He's written as a much smarter character.
Mhm.
He is, yes, he's deceitful. He's you don't trust him. But I mean, I think in the grain aspect of things, he had the right motivations.
He's a science man. We find out in this episode
Yes,
too.
he
But,
is.
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, which makes
So
me really like the character a lot more.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, never really got it until we started doing this again. So
very cool.
It may change next week. We'll see.
I'm gonna touch base with you next episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out. So so yeah, no weird intro. I could have made a smoke on the water joke there, but I decided to forego it.
Well, I was telling you about this earlier. I want to give a little background here because this is Fire in the Sky we're getting ready to go into. And Fire in the Sky is the actual introduction of Jetfire or Skyfire. Sorry, this whole thing with that too. So I'm gonna go over this real quick timeline. My friend, a long time fandom friend, Black Zarak from the Excellent Underground. He made a nice infographic that I'm going to use, and let me see if I can post the infographic in our Discord if people want to look at it. So I want to go. Originally, the character of what became Jetfire's toy was originally named Fireball. So April 30th, 1984, Hasbro briefing a binder in the Hasbro briefing binder, kind of their Bible for the Transformers brand. Fireball's name was changed to Jetfire. Character model matched the toy, so their character model on the show is going to be like a Valkyrie.
Okay.
But 10th of May 1984, the television series Bible Jetfire has a note below that says Jetfire has been changed to Skyfire with a new model due to legal reasons. So Harmony Gold said you can't use that. So there was a whole thing with that. Harmony Gold and was it Bandai? Yeah.
Bandai made the original Valkyrie.
Yeah, and
toy. So
yeah, and they're not to use the character unless necessary for small scenes. But the character model in the series at this point still looked like the toy. 2nd of July 1984, first draft of Fire on the Mountain is submitted, which is the next episode that comes in after this. Character is called Skyfire in the script. There's a note in the part where Sideswipe and Wheeljack are freeing him from the ice that Jetfire is incorrectly named Skyfire throughout the rest of the script. And the instances of Skyfire in the new script have Sky scribbled out with Jet written in. So there's complete confusion because the toy is called Jetfire. The character is named Skyfire. And July 9th, 1984, first draft of Fire in the Sky is submitted, and the character's name is listed as Jetfire. July 19th, 1984, final revised draft of Fire in the Sky is submitted. Character's name is still listed as Jetfire, even in the revised portion. So back again. So in the updated dialogue script that came after, the character's name is changed to Skyfire. So we're back this way again. 29th of November 1984 script for Day of the Machines, which is a later episode, is submitted, and the character's name is Skyfire. 6th of December 1984, the revised script is for Day of the Machines is submitted, and the character's name remains Skyfire. So we're cool now. And 8th of December 1984 episode Fire in the Sky airs, and the character's name Skyfire. So it goes into the lexicon as Skyfire at that point.
Skyfire. So he was never called Jetfire in the show.
Not in the show. December 22nd that year, the episode Fire in the Mountain airs, where he's also called Skyfire. 85, Hasbro's Toy Fair catalog lists the toy as Jetfire. And February 7th, 1985, series update memo from Flint Dilley mentions Jetfire by name alongside Cosmos and Pyroglide, a couple other toys that came out at that time. 23rd of July, 1985, Marvel US Transformers number 10 is published. The character uses the toy designs for unfinished jet form. It is called Jetfire. So in the comic, they go this way again. 27th of August, 1985, Marvel US Transformers number 11 is published. Character is still called Jetfire, but now is drawn according to the Skyfire model. So yeah, they had a catalog, a toy catalog for Britain, and even then the character was I think it was called a like Autobot Commander. So there was all kinds of like anomalous weird things with the character the whole time. So here we are now.
All right.
The character is named Skyfire in the show.
Fire. All right.
So, yeah.
Fire in the Sky. Yeah. This one's written by Dick Robbins and Bryce Malek, who we've talked about in the past. But also Alfred Pegel. This is a weird one. Not as weird as old Baron Douglas Booth, my favorite Transformers writer. But from what I can find, this guy did a couple of episodes of this, a couple of G.I. Joe. that really cool show Cops from the early '90s. Do you remember that show?
Oh yeah, I remember that cover with the BP vest as the I guess the head of the cops division.
Was that his name?
Yeah, it's
BP
BP vest, bulletproof
Oh,
vest.
that's God, it's brilliant. No, I used to watch that show. It was a little bit after when I should have been watching those types of shows. I guess I was still, like 13 or something like that. I don't know, maybe 14, 15. But yeah, it came on at a time where I didn't have a whole lot to do, so I would catch those episodes. But the only episode I can remember of that entire show, despite having watched like all of it, was one where there was a woman that was a cat burglar that had she had like this lipstick she would put on, and she'd kiss dudes and it would knock them out. And I don't know why it didn't knock her out though.
She has I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. But I like that show. I thought that show was very cool. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine about that a couple of weeks ago, and he said he has a friend that recently went back and collected every toy from that line. He tracked down every toy from Cops.
Wow.
I was like, oh, yeah, pretty cool.
Well, man, some people have very specific collector stuff.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm glad that somebody's out there's collecting that kind of thing. Yeah. So anyway, so this guy Alfred A. Pegel, from what I can find, this guy he did this. He did G.I. Joe, a couple other things here. But the weird thing is, from what I can find, this guy was born in 1913. So he was like 71 when he wrote this. So he must have been pushing 80 when he was writing Cops.
Wow,
what a weird thing. And I can't find any other credits for it. So I don't know if he was like maybe like a staff writer for like old old shows like sitcoms or whatever, or like westerns back when they didn't really credit writers too much or something like that. I guess what could have been the thing.
Very possible.
But yeah, this guy was like, so I mean, he probably started working in TV like in the 50s or 60s or something like that. And just he wrote for like my three sons or something. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what this guy did.
He could have, who knows, like Dick Van Dyke Show for all we know. He's obviously in writing for quite a many years, but like you said, they didn't really acknowledge him like they do now. The big names they'll acknowledge. They'll say, "Oh yeah, he wrote on this show," but not to say
staff writers. I don't think got a whole lot of credit back then. But I like the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's a real good show.
It is.
You ever watch that?
Years ago, yeah.
Oh, it's real good, man. I went back and watched it recently. It was real good. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah, so this is like, someone, I think Jess on the Discord is asking us recently, there's a Christmas episode. I kind of feel like this is kind of the Christmas episode.
It's snowing. We should have done this one last week because it was freezing. Yeah. The entire country was frozen for like 5 days, and it was like -8 degrees everywhere, including Florida. Florida was also frozen.
Yeah, so, I mean, and really, we can like deduce the show happens in the Cascades in Pacific Northwest, and snowfall is pretty common. But if this is happening inside the Willamette Valley area, going up through Washington State or whatever, it's usually sees less snow because of the mountain effect. But so this is also July, so it's a little bit to find out.
Yeah. Is a cactus common in Oregon?
Well, Eastern
Oregon,
because
there's a cactus. It turns into a cactus.
Yeah. Eastern Oregon is a desert, but not really a desert like we think of it. So not really. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jazz is disguised as a snowman here. Pretty cool.
Oh, he says something along the lines of something about there in a flurry in a hurry, which reminds me of Scatman Carruthers.
Well, it is Scatman Carruthers.
Well, I know it is, but he has that very.
That delivery
character, yes.
Yeah. Well, it was something. Yeah, like a bunch of snowfalls, and somebody says, "Get the drift."
Oh God,
that was real good.
And I think I wrote my notes here. It's a blizzard of dad jokes.
That's accurate. They have a snowball fight, and somebody gets hit and says that snow fair. That's snow fair. That's snow fair. Yeah, it was real. Yeah, it was real. Like when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's dad joke level stuff." I wrote it down, and it didn't make any sense when I was reading it just now.
Yeah, it's weird.
It took me 3 readings to get the joke this time. So I like this part though because it showed like a little levity with the Autobots, and it reminded me a lot of in the 80s the X-Men would randomly have these issues where like the first half of the comic would be them like playing baseball or something like that. Yeah. And they would, and I always really like those episodes or those issues of X-Men. Yeah,
they're not always having to go run to the next emergency. Something's going on, but in the middle of all this Optimus Prime is the downer, man.
He's watching him. He's watching him play in the snow on TV. Did you see? Did you catch this? He's like watching him on the villain screen. He's just kind of standing there, and there's a shot of like 5 or 6 seconds of him just standing there watching TV. Like he's not saying anything. He's just being real creepy. And
talk about how dangerous this is, and perhaps dangerous.
Now they care about global warming. Now the Autobots come over to my side.
Climate change, man.
Yeah, so
we'll use that.
Now they care about it, and so there's another Autobot here. He's watching like a primitive village on TV that's covered in snow.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be down in the tropics somewhere. You know,
probably Bali or something like that. I don't know. Bora Bora. I don't know. Like little like straw huts that are covered in snow, and he's just watching these huts on TV. There's nobody doing anything. He's just watching snow-covered huts on TV. It's a real boring show.
So yeah, and I can't remember. This is where they're trying to figure out where the drain's coming from. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but they realize it's coming from the Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to the Decepticons, and they're working in the snow. They're digging for this energy source, which apparently is a green crystal. I didn't know that green crystals produce energy for the planet. Newsflash for me, man.
Well, they also apparently generate the warmth of the planet also.
Yeah.
So now the Decepticons are sucking their Earth's heat out to make energy. That's their new plan. So, but after 12 episodes of basically being Green Party hippies and researching renewable energy, now they're just, forget all that. We're just going to go full on Exxon. We're going to become Captain Planet villains now. And so I'm no longer a fan of these guys. I'm done. They're cut off because I was on their side for this entire time because I'm an environmentalist because I live in an environment.
Yeah.
And but now, I thought we were on the same page. They had some progressive policies and everything, and I would have voted for these guys, for all the renewable energy. But now that that's gone, I'm just going to burn my Megatron jersey and put it up on YouTube like everybody.
You have a Megatron jersey?
At a quarterback. No, but if I had one, I would go burn it now.
Dude, it's fine. It's fine. Hey,
well, it's every time somebody's trades their quarterback off, they have to go burn a jersey. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess all those classes I took on natural resource conservation were all wrong, and we don't have geothermal rotation, producing a magnetic field and producing heat from the below the earth. It's just green crystals.
It's green crystals.
So
they look real cool though. I like this.
Once again, Rumble's an idiot. As a Skywarp starts giving him crap about being so slow.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, all right, fine. He starts going faster and harder until he basically caves in the cave. But what happens? They find something, kind of behind the ice. They can't quite make out what it is. So they get to digging out. They Megatron has this kind of thing where he touches the ice. He's like, oh, yes, it's big, it's powerful.
Yeah, he can sense how powerful this thing is, dude.
He's over the twirling his mustache almost. Oh,
I know, man. So they find a robot. They find a robot frozen in there. That was pretty cool. And that was it. And then we come back to Optimus Prime. He has a cubicle. You see this? Optimus Prime has a little cubicle. I'm strangely, simpatico with him now. Yeah, I work in IT, so I have a cubicle, and it's I know how tormenting that can be to sit in a cubicle all day. But then he just gets up and tells everybody transform, because that's just like, oh my God, there's energy coming. Everybody transform, and we're gonna go. It's transform.
Yeah.
So
so they start. Of course, they're heading there. I don't know how they're heading there. They're heading apparently. Is it the North Pole or South Pole? I think it's closer to the Arctic, so it's going to be.
I'll be the North Pole. So that makes sense. So they're going to drive from Oregon through Canada.
They're going to go.
That's going to take 6 days.
But it won't. But yes.
No.
But Yeah, we go back and Zowie basically gives Skyfire a jump start. He gives him
a million volts.
Yeah,
he gives him a million volts.
But I really like this scene though, because people are like, oh, he's powerful, and Starscream goes, I know him, and he started getting this whole story of like Starscream before the war, which made me like him a lot better. So more than 4 million years ago, obviously, because before they landed on the planet.
Yeah,
Starscream and Skyfire are explorers and scientists. They were scanning Earth with when a polar windstorm came out and caused Skyfire to crash. Starscream lost track of him and searched for him, but lost him. So basically, he's looking for his friend for days. He can't find him, and so yeah, he goes off and basically he's missing in action.
They're old bros. He's his friend from back home.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So as a little quick detour here, it's a little technical info on how I normally work when I do my part of this. I normally have a desktop Windows PC, and I watch the show and take notes. I have 2 monitors, and so I usually have the show on one screen, and then I have my Notepad plus on the other. However, last week my PC died. It was very old. It was like 10 or 11 years old, so don't mourn it or anything like that. Not a huge deal. I'm waiting for some new parts to come in to build a new machine. I got a couple of days. So I got staggered delivery dates and whatnot. So anyway, so this week using my work laptop to take notes on, and then I'm using my MacBook Pro to watch the show, and I had a headset on it and all that kind of stuff. So, which is weird switching between 2 OSs like that, like on the fly, like I have a keyboard for one and a keyboard for the other, and that's really confusing. But something I didn't really realize is that I have on my Windows machines, I have a ton of ad block software going on, pop-up blockers and ad block software and whatever. And I watch the show on YouTube because Hasbro has it up on YouTube, and it's it's free or whatever. So I've never seen an ad on YouTube like in my life, and the show is riddled with ads. This is at this point in the show, I'm on like my 4th ad.
Jeez,
it's almost unusable. I don't know how you guys do this without ad block software, because there's like pop-ups like on the screen while I'm watching, like links to pop up that are like covering a third of the video.
I know,
and it's just it was insane. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I have it bookmarked on YouTube, but it was real weird. I didn't care for this at all. This is a viewing experience at all.
No problems, man.
Yeah, man. It was real bizarre. So Megatron starts explaining who he is to Skyfire, which was pretty cool. He's going on about his. He is, but in the background, there's a jaunty little jazz tune from like 1970s TV that comes in. This is a real happy little tune going on. I like this little tune a whole lot. It was very cool. And then Starscream. You found out Starscream was a scientist, like you said. But now he, through a conversation with Skyfire, he reveals that he likes being a warrior more than he likes being a scientist. So he's like the reverse of the horrors of war story. He's like the reverse of like Captain Winters from Band of Brothers. He's not going to go make a farm. He's burning his farm down, and now he's going to go fight. He's doing the opposite. It's kind of weird, but like you said, kind of cool. And I kind of like this aspect of Starscream. I thought it was
gives him a better, aspect of where he got where he is. But this word destruction doesn't sit right with Skyfire. So he asks Starscream if he's happier as a warrior and as opposed to being a scientist. Starscream, like he said, he says, yeah. And one day he'll be in command, and Skyfire will be his second in command. Starscream is very much like, I'm going to run things, and he doesn't worry about anything at that point. But he sees someone who he trusts so that's saying a lot for Starscream. So he says, you'll be my second in command. Just, it's rough for Skyfire there because it doesn't understand about the war and just wants to, please his friend. He's like, oh, yeah, well, you're my oldest friend. You're here, and that's what you do. That's what you do. Okay. So
he's got almost kind of a Frankenstein thing going on here, like a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing here, which was kind of neat. But it's also kind of telling that Starscream, he finds his old friend, and then he's just, he just puts him right into the takeover plans, and just he's like, I don't care about Skywarp and Thundercracker anymore. This guy is my new right hand man. So yeah, it's like, once again, I think it gives Starscream a actual good personality, a motivational awareness. So it's where he came from and where he's at now. So I like that a lot. Me too.
So there's another sad point after this where the Autobots are, they're out there getting ready to approach the base, and Skyfire, knows what's going on, and he's been told what the deal is with the war. And he has this whole God, it reminds me of something. There's an old movie called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, where the guy goes, he's wearing armor and stuff, and like plate armor. He goes, "This is my death mask," with the plate armor on. And it was a very very moving scene where he realizes like, this is me as a killer. So
what's it called? Brother, Sun, Sister,
Brother,
Moon?
Sun, Sister, Moon. You know what? I haven't seen it in years, but I remember that part stuck out to me.
Huh.
So he sees the Autobots coming and laments that this has come time to make the transition from scientist to warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a sad thing, he's like, all right, well, I've got to put that life behind me now.
Yeah, that was kind of, you tell he was conflicted too. Also, as a side note, I wanted to say that I'm very proud of you for saying plate armor there and not using the incorrect plate mail.
Mail? Yeah, no, come on.
Not,
come on, man. D&D. Honest these things. Ring mail, chain mail, plate armor.
Well, chain mail is redundant because the word mail
is, but it also
means,
okay.
But you can't have plate mail because mail only refers to that type of mesh armor because
woven mesh armor.
Right, because it's from the Latin term macula, which means fishnet. Anyway, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So he there's the whole fight breaks out. He's shooting at him, and obviously he's pretty tough. They're getting pinned down, and there's the whole thing where Sparkplug and Spike, of course, are with him. Once again, they're with him.
Yeah, at least they have some cold protective gear on them, some cold weapon gear, which is good of them to think of. Skyfire has a really cool double-barreled cannon, like a Wing Gundam Zero almost. I like this cannon a lot, and but Skyfire's really easy to convince things though. He goes to pick up Spike and Sparkplug, and he's like, "Oh," they get this debate about who's evil, the Autobots or the Decepticons, and they were like, "No, the Decepticons are evil." And Skyfire's like, "No, the Autobots are evil. The Megatron said so. I'll take you to see him, and we'll find out." It was just real. He was real.
He'll explain things to you.
Yeah, it was kind of it was very Frankenstein. So he's getting away with them, and the Autobots are about to, let's just shoot this big dude down. And now Optimus Prime, it's like, don't shoot, we might hit Spike and Sparkplug. Now they're concerned about friendly fire. Now, after 12 episodes, now they're like, oh, no, we can't shoot our own guys anymore.
You can
he's sus, dude. I don't know, man.
You can kind of read into it. Maybe he's more worried about Sparkplug and the Spike, because he'll shoot all around Spike.
Yeah, sure will. He's like, yeah, I guess he knows that. I don't know, maybe Sparkplug's a little more useful since he's a crystal miner, an oil rig worker, a truck driver, he's
and a tailor,
a jet mechanic, a tailor, a giant tailor at that. He can make Autobot-sized clothes.
So he takes him to Megatron, and Megatron's pretty happy about this. And Skyfire's confused this whole time. Starscream tosses them over in the corner and melts with his laser, melts bars.
He makes an ice jail.
Yeah, which is great.
This seems like something you would have to solve in King's Quest or something like that. Like you have to throw the thermal pod at this thing to get him out. That was pretty cool.
But yeah, Skyfire, once again, he's really conflicted here. He's like, hey, I told them they wouldn't come to any harm, and he tells the rest of the Decepticons as much. And Starscream asks, who is he to offer safety to their enemies?
Starscream is mad.
Yeah, and Skyfire reaches in to help Sparkplug, and like Starscream shoots his hand, like, no.
He slaps his hand away.
Yeah, and sorry.
I like that. What was kind of funny and kind of weird about this little bit though was that like all the Decepticons were in this ice cave, and but Skyfire was outside. It's like a hole, and he's just kind of sticking his face through the hole. It was kind of like when your dog is sticking like when you have your legs crossed and your dog sticks his face up through your legs to get like a sandwich or something like that. That's kind of what it looked like. He just reaches his hand through his hole. Hey guys, what are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? It was pretty funny. And,
hey, can I come in, guys? No, you're huge.
You're too big to go in there.
Go back to garden.
It's like a Hagrid or something is out there. Like,
yeah,
you can't fit, dude. Sorry.
Yeah, he's confused though because he doesn't understand since his function is a further science. So once again, you have the whole idea with science versus war.
Yeah, he's having a change of heart now. He doesn't think he wants to be a Decepticon anymore.
Yeah.
So, there's another little jaunty tune in here though that starts off almost like Day Tripper, like Beatles.
Oh, I have to think about. I can't.
The intro. The intro, which was almost like, oh, that's Day Tripper, and then but then it went into like a little jazzy like improv version of like the Transformers the main theme.
Sorry. I just, for anyone looking on the YouTube, I made jalapeno poppers earlier, and I just rubbed my eye. So, yeah, the pain. Anyways,
that's a real bad idea.
Yeah, I did it earlier too. I didn't wash my hands enough. Apparently, I found some more jalapeno oil or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Autobots though, they lead a quiet assault on the Decepticon base to rescue them, and Gears stops suddenly, saying he has a tingle that tells him something's wrong. And then he, Hound, and Ratchet and Ironhide fall right through the ice.
Right before that, there was a cool transforming scene. But immediately in the middle of the transforming scene, I got another ad here, and so this time the ad was for Stance socks, and so I know browsers like harvest data and all that kind of stuff, but in this case, that is the last thing that needs to be advertised to me. And so I talked about this in our Discord group that I have a vast collection of socks.
You do?
And like to the point where it's spilled over into I have 2 sock drawers that are full of Stance socks. It's like I'm obsessed with these things. I love them. But like this should be the opposite. Like I am an ad for Stance socks, and they don't need to be advertising to me. I'm like a billboard for these guys because I wear nothing but Stance socks. So that was just a waste because they've already got I don't they don't need to spend any money advertising to me. So but then we go back and we finish the transforming scene and they fall through the ice. That was very cool. Fall through the ice is a very good trope of any ice-based action thing.
If they hadn't stopped, they wouldn't have fallen through the ice, but whatever. The work goes well. They're just trying to ride along, harnessing the energy. Megatron sees Gears' group and captures them and sends Ravage after the others. Which they stop him pretty quickly. And so here we have Skyfire after this scene. He's having serious ethical issues with executing the Autobots because he's basically Megatron's, I just jumped ahead a little bit. They have the 4 of them there, and Megatron's all right, well, now I need you to execute them, basically show your loyalty.
Right.
And he's over there going, he has serious ethical issues. And so Starscream says, hey, I'll offer you a second chance. Here, but if you execute them, everything will be fine again. You'll be cool with us. Don't worry about how we're even ground again.
Yeah, blood in, blood out, man.
Yeah. So, but he won't do it, and Starscream fires. Starscream fires upon Skyfire, knocking him out, and then he fires on the Autobots. Basically they're all sitting there shocked by how Starscream's treating his friend because that's obviously Skyfire's like he has ethics, he has I guess empathy. They're like, how could you do this? So he shoots the Autobots, and the crystal explodes and seeming to destroy them all.
Yeah, during this, there was like a little interstitial part here of Cliffjumper rescuing Spike and Sparkplug, and apparently his laser has a defrost cycle. It's pretty,
good.
Just foresight there.
Just in case we needed it, right?
Yeah. Somebody's gets threatened to get reprogrammed with a rivet roller, and which is not a very efficient way to reprogram anything.
No, it almost seems like an innuendo, but yes.
It does. Yes. It does. And we get the first reference to Astro Minutes. We've been talking about Astro Seconds for a long time, and that's been the standard thing. But now, man, they like somebody's complaining they've been wandering these ice caves for Astro Minutes, which must be a real long time because we did that conversion a while back and we figured out. So Astro Minutes must have been like, it's like when your son's like, oh dad, oh my god, I've been driving for 6 years, really we're just going to like McDonald's or something like that.
Yeah. But so the commercial break pretty much happens right there. So come back and I
got a lot of commercial breaks right there. I got a Best Buy commercial break right there actually, and that's another thing that doesn't need to be advertised to me because I'm not going to I don't go to Best Buy, but the explosion here though was really cool looking. It was like a dark red and blue, like alternating, and it went on for a few seconds, and it just kind of kept going. It took up the whole screen. It looked really cool. If those colors like together look really good, and it reminded me of a pair of fat shoelaces I had when I was a kid. Like, you remember fat shoelaces? Did you have those when you were a kid? I had that same scheme.
Nice.
Because like 9-year-old me collected fat shoelaces, like 47-year-old me collects socks.
Of course you did.
Like I had just tons and tons of them. Like,
I swear you're like a little old man when you're a kid.
No, these were like hip hop things. They were like
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean like they were cool. Like you put them in, you loose laced them in like Converse or like Pumas or Adidas shell toes. Like it was like a breakdancing thing. You don't remember these things?
I don't remember they're that
Oh Jesus,
big. I mean, I knew them, but maybe
okay. Everybody go to the Discord because I'm going to post pictures of my shoes with fat shoelaces. And then,
so but really, at insult to injury, Starscream like walks over his friend after he's shot him. He's leaving on the ground, to presumably die. He's like, all right. He walks over his old friend and leaves. As soon as he's gone, he reveals that Hound did this elaborate, mirage or illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that the Autobots are all fine. And they're all good. Yeah. So, but in Skyfire's relieved, they're still functioning. And, Hound pretty much says as much, but they go over and they realize that he's not doing all that well. So the Autobots try to repair him, and he seems iffy if he'll pull through, but Laserbeak sees all of this and sends a message to Megatron that's happily twirling a cube.
Yeah. Oh, he's also broadcasting with the concentric circles again, which I very much like to see when he does that.
That's true.
That's really cool because it's coming out of his face, and then you can see it kind of zeroing in on Megatron as he receives the broadcast. I really like that.
Yeah, it was like the Aquaman.
It was once again the Aquaman talking to things. Yeah. So yeah, the Seekers attack at this point. They just come in with this awesome scene of them coming and dropping bombs and shooting missiles, and it looked really cool. It was a really, really well done scene. And Autobots are pinned down. This is really I like this.
Skyward is going down. And he sounded like a TIE fighter.
It was the exact sound effect. Yeah, because he went down because Optimus Prime decided they need more firepower, so he grabbed his trailer and had that little rover thing pop out of the back and just use like an anti-aircraft gun. Apparently, that's more powerful than Optimus Prime's actual cannon, which established as a superpower, like
to shoot a spaceship.
3 weapons as far as like the Transformers go.
He can shoot a spaceship out of orbit, but apparently he needs something a little like I don't know. He needs a cannon replacement to take care of this. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe it tracks moving targets better. Well, he shoot a spaceship though.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Dude, okay. After this though.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Crystal sword fight between Prime and Megatron. It was good.
This was so cool. Optimus Prime does this cool thing where he holds one of the crystals like a sword and he's spinning his fist around in circles and he's got like a shield. This was really cool. And these crystals looked like they were green. They were glowing green, so they look like the crystals from Superman 2.
They do.
Whatever. Yeah. This was super cool. Yeah, this was a real cool fight, and so it's like when you're fighting with like light tubes or something, or like sticks when you're a kid, and like somebody's you block the one kid's stick when he goes to hit you, and then it breaks it off at the handle. That's what happens to Megatron. He's just got the handle. He's sitting there. He's like, Megatron or Optimus Prime's got the full blown thing. So it was pretty cool. I like that fight a lot.
Yeah, just when he's beat, he sees Skyfire walking up, like, oh, I got you now. Okay.
Skyfire pulls not one but 2 pro wrestling moves here. So first of all, he takes off the Decepticon symbol, and then he puts the Autobot symbol on. It's like he's quitting the NWO here and joining WCW.
Pack.
He is joining the Wolf. He's
changing his face makeup from Sting to Dark Sting
to Red Sting. He did exactly. And then he went full. Speaking of the Wolf Pack, he went full blown Lex Luger, picks up Megatron and press slams him into a snowman. Dude, this ruled.
He treats him like a rag doll too.
This was so cool. Oh man.
Oh god, what is this whole thing like? and the reflector members are doing this weird standing on shoulders attack thing, like three kids in a trench coat.
I was going to say they're doing the tall man. They're going to get into a movie next. This was very cool. They're going to go see a rated R movie. They're going to go see Platoon after this.
But yeah, so then there's Starscream's coming in from above, and he's trying to the air superiority thing. But Skyfire once again reminds him, don't forget, I too can fly, and goes and chases down Starscream and shoots him out of the sky, and basically, and he also sends. I want to say he sends Starscream down, and he goes down as well because he can't. He's like, I don't know. Apparently, he can't fly in the cold. I
don't really. Yeah, I didn't see him get like shot or hit or anything like that. He just crashed, and he crashed into the thing where they
crystal.
where they were sucking out all the heat and everything, and that just deactivated and solved global cooling.
Yeah, exactly. And so Autobots have a tender moment here, like remembering what he did, and
he's dead. And he's dead.
Yeah,
that's it. He's dead. But Optimus Prime says he'll always be with us as long as freedom exists. like what?
I know.
It was real weird. It was really bizarre.
It was kind of one of those things where you get that you're not beholden to one side or the other. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, that was the episode. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Mostly because it was very character driven and a lot, for a few major characters. So let me get your kind of rundown of what did you think of it?
Okay, this up was extremely cool. Yeah. I like this one start to finish. To be honest, this is a great intro for Skyfire. Even though that's it's sort of close to the Dinobots intro with the whole like whose side are they really on? That whole trope, which I like that trope, and I like to see it when it's done well. This was significantly different enough from the Dinobots thing that it was its own thing, but also it ruled. So that was a bonus. It like we said, it kind of had the almost like the Frankenstein vibe of him, trying to become cognizant or whatever. Like it's like he was so smart that he couldn't think on a normal level. He was like I don't know, it was a cool thing. He was a neat character. As a dad, I love dad jokes, and like we said, this was full of them. And there's something really great about cold related puns. Like 80 shows like love to do like anytime anything was cold, you had to throw out cold related puns, and like Schwarzenegger ruined this in Batman. Like he just absolutely just ended. It was the end of cold puns. Right, it's done. But there were so many in this that I lost track of it. And I was talking about. I was like, I can't process any more of these cold puns, and I love this. It was good. It was great. My rating, if it's your first time listening, I generally rate these episodes twice. I rate them with a kid brain, and I rate them with the adult brain. Kid brain's gonna go 4.5 targeted ads out of 5 on this one. Loved it. I thought it was super cool. There was a lot of cool fights. They had the crystal fight. Like we had the intro of a new Transformer that was a very cool Transformer too. Is Skyfire, because you got the sense that he's special. He's important. Like he's a new guy, but not just like, hey, here's a bunch of new guys like Dinobots. This guy's one new guy. He's like a separate thing almost. So I thought that was very cool. Adult Brain's gonna. I'd have to go like 3. I'd have to go 3 dead PCs from dried out thermal paste out of 5. And 3 dead CPUs out of 5. It was like dad me really fun, really cool with the dad jokes. I like this one a lot. This was like, it was definitely a good bounce back from the last couple ones that we watched, where it was like it was kind of felt like a kind of a holding pattern, but this was felt like a new thing. And so what'd you think?
Actually, I'll be honest. This may have other companies would go along, but I liked. I really liked the idea of them getting, at least, like you said at the beginning, having fun. It's not one crisis to the next crisis to the next crisis. There's a sense of downtime. I really liked the character. By the way, you mentioned this is something that's very much like what happened in the Dinobot episodes, like what side he's on. The guy who voices Skyfire is also the guy who voices Grimlock. So Greg Berger.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, met him in person. Really, really nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he also voices other characters, but those are the two of the main ones he's voiced and he's known for. But yeah, I like the idea of giving Starscream some backstory and characterization by exposition from a new character. So you see there's the continuity of there's a life before them fighting. It wasn't always a factional thing. It was at one point they were just scientists, explorers. So I like that idea. It gives it a like a it doesn't give it that complete cartoon trope, every afternoon cartoon fodder, as I like to say in the intro. And it felt a little more lived in of an idea. So I really like that a lot. And this is going to be one of the ones I'm going to give 5 green crystals swords out of 5 because
Nice.
man, I always remember this one. And I come back and I watch it, I'm like, man, there are things sure it can be better, but if I'm comparing it to what we've seen so far and how much I like it, this is like top for me.
I can't think of much that really could have been better with this one. To be as far as like being good and not just being like a fun one to watch. Because like there really weren't any like animation flubs or anything to pick on. Because I know that we pick on those the animation thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it was like we said in that episode that was really boring. That it was just nothing happened and there were no animation flaws in it. So there wasn't anything fun to zero in on. Like even when the good ones have animation flaws, you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, haha, look at that was silly. But I think that having no animation flaws or no farmed out animation in this one really just enhanced it. It made it a lot better and kind of solidified it as being like one of the cornerstone episodes of the series. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, then there will be a few others that actually hit this for me, but this is one of the ones I always remember. It's always very good. I mean, maybe it's because the guy writing was in the 70s. He's already written a lot of good TV. Who knows?
Maybe he didn't. Maybe they found him on the street. Maybe he was like some bum. Pulled him off a train.
The whole this whole thing. I'm going to go into a little tangent here for a second. Okay. The reason why I like it so much, the whole idea of Starscream remembering when they're explorers and scientists. There is an episode of one of my favorite shows called Exo Squad. There is at the ending of the series. I'm not going to give anything away for people who haven't watched it, but the show's main villain, Phaeton, which the names are very significant, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Phaeton, he's the ruler, the emperor of the Neo-Sapien order, the basically slave race created by people. He talks about times when before the war. He goes, I was happy once. You get an idea of like he was like I was called to do a talk at the University of Chicago, and you see him like walking and sitting and just enjoying a nice peaceful day in a park. And you get the feeling like, okay, he's not just twirling his mustache all the time. He has times where he's actually been more than just the villain. And I like those parts in these shows because it gives characters depth. And this did that for Starscream for me. Starscream is a much better character because of this episode. So that's why I give it 5 out of 5. So that's why I feel about it.
Right on.
Yeah, man. So yeah, the end of the season 1 is a little bit of a jumble. I think I want to say Heavy Metal War's next. Then
yes.
Then there's gonna be Fire on the Mountain, and then there's gonna be Plague of Insecticons. So yeah, you see where this is all out of order. Skyfire was already in the show before this, but that was the introduction episode. So anyways, so yeah, we mentioned the Discord a bit. I will once again drop a link to the Discord in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, it is edhatestransformers@gmail.com or morethanmeetstheseguys@gmail.com or both of them, because that'll be he and I. Anyways, anything else that's in the show notes you want to take a look at, take a gander at, there's a Facebook page, there's Twitter, all that sort of stuff. So plenty of ways to get a hold of us, talk to us, hang out with us, because I can tell you that Ed and I are generally checking Discord daily at this point.
Now that we know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're not wrong.
We love hearing from you guys. So if and also I meant to say earlier, talking about subdivisions, if there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about, drop us a line, let us know, because
we'll glad to
some suggestions there. Hey,
And
so oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say,
Finish the
Jess,
thing.
there is your Christmas episode. Kind of.
So I looked up Greg Berger real
Yeah.
quick, and he did voices for Mazinger Z and Gigantor. That was pretty cool. But also, he was in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I don't doubt it. That's great. Like the
That's
cartoon or the movie?
The movie. He was in the original movie.
Oh, dude, I gotta
He was
find that now.
He played Sergeant.
Nice.
Yeah,
He's
that's very
good.
cool. He has a ton of credits. But also he was in Toxic Crusaders, the movie, which I'm a big fan of. Toxic Avenger. Toxic Crusaders was the cartoon, but he's got like just bizarre, like all over the place credits. He also, including he has a credit on WWE Raw.
Really?
As corn-fed pig. From what I can gather here, there was a crossover episode with Duckman. Remember that cartoon, Duckman?
I do remember Duckman. He's corn-fed pig. Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I
love that
pig,
show.
Yeah. I barely remember that. He was in an episode of Night Court also.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was man guilty of littering.
I'm sure there's a pun in there from the Judge Stone. All right.
What a great. He was in Duckman. Okay, he was he was corn-fed pig, oil dump worker.
Wait,
Melrose Plaza announcer.
Wait, he was corn-fed pig. He was basically like the straight man for to Duckman. He was like the pig who was always there, kind of as he was the guy who was very serious, where Duckman was an idiot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was actually. Oh. If that's true, I think he was one of the main characters in Duckman. That was a great show. It was a really great '90s era adult cartoon, like Adult Swim style.
Yeah, that show was a little ahead of its time. I think
he
was in Gargoyles too.
I don't doubt that.
Yep.
All right. Well, we can go all day long about talk about his long resume.
I'm gonna list every credit.
Yeah, I know you would. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it here, man. Everyone, thanks for being here and joining us with us as we ramble on like a couple old nerds. Ed, do you want to take us out with some sort of quote today?
I'm too darn big to sneak around like this.
Skyfire.
Skyfire.
Yep. There you go.
Gotta keep it topical. All right, guys.
Thanks everyone for being here. See you next week.
Roll out.